Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined by Christian Smalls. He is the former Amazon worker that Amazon fired in 2020 for the sin of demanding a safer workplace during a global pandemic. Christian has been the leader, along with current Amazon workers at JFK 8 in Staten Island, of trying to win the first unionized Amazon in the country. I've been there to the Staten Island warehouse many times since April. You guys have been out there daily trying to organize and trying to get enough workers there to sign yes to a union so that you could get the go-ahead to hold a union election, which finally you just got that go-ahead. So I want to start there. Can you kind of talk about what led to you getting a go-ahead from the National Labor Relations Board to hold a union election? What are the next steps now that the NLRB has given you the green light? And just today, you guys have filed for an additional warehouse, not the main JFK 8, but a separate warehouse across the street in Staten Island. So now you've already won the right to hold a union election for one, but now you have filed for a second one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long journey. 9 months of putting in our blood, sweat, and tears into this campaign, and we finally got over the hump. As you mentioned, back in December, we filed for JFK 8. The board has determined that we met our requirement, even though Amazon claimed that our card signing is skeptical. It's funny how they did that, but when they are the ones who submitted the payroll list that the NLRB uses to determine this decision. And it's definitely a celebratory moment for us. We're happy that we're living in this moment, but we know that's going to be a long battle ahead. But it's definitely good news. Unionizing JFK is our priority now. Secondary is LDJ5, which is across the street. Today we definitely did a file for a petition to have an election at that facility. And Jordan, you've been here on the ground. You've seen how workers are responding, the morale, the energy, the momentum is definitely with the workers. Just staying resilient, staying grounded. We were able to defeat the odds and not only successfully get an election, we were able to file for another petition today. We go to court on February 16th. On that day, that's when we'll determine the rules and regulation and the date of the actual election for JFK.
And I want to stress and get your thoughts, not to take away anything that Starbucks has been doing, because the workers, it's historic. They won in Buffalo, the first ever unionized Starbucks. Now you've had over 50 other stores file for union elections. But JFK 8 is the size of 15 football fields. It's an enormous warehouse. I've been there many times interviewing you, other workers. And I mean, you had to basically, they have 150% turnover, meaning Amazon is hiring and firing. They have a turnover rate of 150%. So just to get enough yes cards of workers signing yes to a union, those union cards, when you were delivering them, Amazon had been firing so many of those workers that the NLRB had originally said, well, you have a lot of cards here, but whatever, half of them aren't at Amazon anymore. So could you kind of talk about, what the workers did there was historic, but any one store, you're talking, maybe a couple dozen workers. You had to get in a warehouse of over 5,000 workers, enough signatures, and they are firing so many workers at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely kudos to the Starbucks workers. What they're doing is definitely historical and well overdue. This is the time to do it. I'm happy to see that wave and support them in solidarity for sure. But yeah, our odds are definitely really impossible if you think about it. The 150% turnover rate. We're talking 150 to 200 workers a week we're losing. So we could sign up 50 a day, which we have had. We have had days when we signed up 50, 60, 70 people a day. But by the end of the week, half of them are gone. More than half of them are gone because they just don't like the job or for whatever reason. They don't last. And that's what we're dealing with. Our odds are just really greater. And when you're talking about trying to get 30% of 5,000 workers, that's not an easy task, and I don't want to take away from the Starbucks workers because, it definitely is historical. But, we know that their bargaining units are way smaller than 5,000. We're talking 20, 30 people at a time, which, they have greater odds if they come together the correct way. They should definitely be successful.
Right.
And I'm hoping that they are. I hope that they get the whole country, every state, every city. I hope it ultimately gets done. And we're hoping to have the same effect with Amazon. We whether it's us or Alabama, we want a domino effect as well. We're starting here in New York. We're trying to get every building in New York, at least in New York City area, and then we'll work on other buildings as well. I already have inquiries for at least 13 different buildings in 13 different states. So I will absolutely try to extend my tentacles once we're done here in New York.
Yeah. And I don't think, I didn't bring that up to it's not a competition between Starbucks workers and Amazon workers. I was pointing out, because I've been there, it's a Herculean task when it's a hamster wheel because they're hiring and firing so many people. So you could be getting people to sign yes, and then they're gone the next week. Right. So you guys deserve a lot of kudos. I also want to point out and ask you about, yes, this is step one. You've gotten the go ahead for an election, but we know the unprecedented union busting you guys have been dealing with while trying to get that election. I broke story after story. Them, all over the warehouse was anti-union signs, union busting signs in the bathrooms, in the break rooms, everywhere. Propaganda about the union. You had union busting consultants in and out of Staten Island, pulling workers aside to tell them why they shouldn't be for the union. You have had mandatory union busting sessions daily. So can you kind of talk about, if that's what Amazon was doing, that kind of union busting to stop you from getting a vote? Who the hell knows what they're going to do now that you've had a vote? Now that you have a vote. Yeah,
it's still going to be another onslaught. What they're doing now is barely scratching the surface, to be honest with you, and that's really insane to even say that even with their $1 million union busters and the odds that they have against us, it's not fair. It's not even playing field. They have these union busters walking around the facility 24/7. They have the anti-literature that they spread across the facility, in the bathroom stalls, cafeterias, TVs. And we have just the workers, and we have to make sure that the workers are getting both sides and not just one side. So how do you do that? Just by absolutely building our relationships up with our coworkers. If we were to step away for even a day or even a second, Amazon gets the upper hand. So that's what it takes to even get these campaigns going and keep them going, is that you have to stay resilient and stay consistent. If you get in and think that you're going to be backing out anytime soon, you're going to lose. My presence here is just to make sure everything rolls out smoothly. But as far as the magic that's happening inside the facility, it's only going to be up to the workers. Even the outside community support, any support from major, either politicians or celebrity figures, that is not going to be the determining factor. The determining factor is if these workers are really going to believe in this union and make it successful.
And let me ask you, probably would have helped to have a union at Amazon, right? During this latest COVID outbreak, because I was getting the messages from workers every day, cases through the roof. Amazon was again hiding how many actual cases they have. They were only sending out dates that they had positive cases, but not how many. Their COVID safety protocols have basically gone away. From workers I heard from, there is no social distancing. You're supposed to wear masks technically, but not everyone does. Can you kind of talk about these last few weeks in New York where Omicron, the variant, was through the roof? What has been going on inside that warehouse?
Yeah, it's been no different ever since I was fired. Workers are still getting cases every day. There's still no social distancing, especially on the work floor. And Amazon has definitely failed and neglected the health and safety concerns of these workers. With the Omicron, we discovered which is really insane. The outbreak that's still here in this building. We discovered that over 1,500 workers here at JFK alone are on leave. Over 500 of them, which Amazon admitted to, is on quarantine right now as we speak. So workers are not even healthy enough to come to work right now and actually participate in an election. So it's just sad to see that this company continues to neglect workers' health and safety, and that's why when we form this union and get in the building, we're gonna make that a priority. Make sure that if any type of outbreak, whether it's COVID-19 or if it's inclement weather, that we close the building down and we pay our workers to stay home safe.
And I assume the majority of those workers on quarantine are not getting paid right now.
Not what they're supposed to be. No, they're getting paid a percentage, which is pennies compared to their actual full paycheck. And that's another thing that should be called out. $1 trillion company puts people on quarantine and only pays them a fraction of their full check. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And lastly, what are the next steps? You said the February 16th court date. Is that when you're going to find out when you will find out what the dates for the election are? Will you find out, is it one day? Is it going to be mail-in ballot over 2 months? That's what's going on in Bessemer, Alabama, their second election. The mail-in ballots are being sent out. It's going to be over the course of 2 months. What are the next steps for your specific election in Staten Island?
Yeah, let me be careful what I say here because I meant to tell you, Jordan. Me and you, we in a lot of their letters. Their lawyers are watching us, so we gotta be careful. But
I know.
No, but to be honest with you, we're trying to eliminate the whole mailbox thing. We determined and that we want to push for the in-person as well. Amazon proposal is they want to have it in person. No surprise there, but we're going to make sure that it's on terms where it's fair for the workers. And hopefully February 16th we'll determine the date and the rules and regulations of it. But I can tell you now what I submitted to the NLRB was to have an election starting I believe May 16th, in person, and 24-hour access for 5 days, for Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm. Would the election be on Amazon's premises?
Yes, so we'll have to be here at the building. They proposed to build the 80 by 100 tent, which is the size of a football field. If they want to blow their money to do that, I'll let them blow that money because we don't have it.
Gotcha. But I assume we don't need to get into it. You guys have learned some lessons from Bessemer, Alabama's first election, where Amazon, it was ruled, had broken the law in that election.
Right, exactly. Having an in-person election eliminates the whole mailbox situation. We're not dealing with that. And the ballots being sent out late. I talked to workers down there. They didn't receive their ballots on time. Some workers, really will have a difficult time sending them back, in cases where they're working 12-hour days and they only have 2 hours to sleep. We're not going to put workers in that situation. We want to make sure that they have plenty of time with 24-hour access for 5 days a week, hopefully.
And lastly, what do you need from the non-Amazon worker? Because right now is a pivotal time. Like you said, you have the court date that will outline what the terms are of this election. But what kind of support do you need from outside individuals? How could other people get involved? Because the first, that was the first battle, was getting the election. Now it's kind of winning the war, so to speak.
Yeah. Right now, it's the time to donate. Our campaign is grassroots, worker-led. Right now, as we speak, I got workers inside feeding their coworkers with the donations. We order food every day for these workers. That's going to get us over the hump. Is we got to continue this campaign, and we need all the support we can. If you can't join us on the ground, please donate to our GoFundMe. You can find it at AmazonLaborUnion.org, on our social media at Amazon Labor Union on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also TikTok as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Christian. I have a feeling I'll be back out there in Staten Island soon, in the flesh. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing, and congratulations on this first step. People don't realize Christian and current workers have been out there literally every single day, rain, snow, sweltering heat, trying to get people to sign those union cards, talking to workers, handing out free food. They've been there every day. I mean, rain or shine, including weekends. So this is, when you say organizing, we're talking hard labor outside that warehouse every day. So congrats on this first, preliminary victory.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. We'll be in touch. Stay safe.
All right. Take care. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.